thing though. So
Hi, everyone. I'm with Eric Vickery today, and we're having a good coaching conversation. And
hey, Paula.
one of the things that comes up a lot, Eric, is the difference in leadership and management. Do you get that? Do you get that distinction sometimes that needs to be made?
Or yeah, it needs to be made because they don't distinguish the difference. A manager is a leader. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people use those terms interchangeably, and they're really very different. So, easy way to remember it is management is about the task, leadership is about the people.
It's great.
So, task, what is that? Task is systems, checklists,
Are you doing it?
job descriptions. We hand these things out to people. We give it to them. We have a meeting about it. We train about it. And then it's still not happening. Leadership needs to kick in at that point. Leadership is, let's sit down and have a conversation about what are those reasons why it's not happening, or
accountability.
Accountability. And, one thing I hear, I was talking about this today actually, is we tend to cover some of the same things in our team meetings over and over. And really it's about one or two people that aren't doing it. You ever run into that?
Not carrying their weight and hoping everybody else does it, riding the coattails. Yeah.
And the team gets resentful of like, why are we talking about this in a meeting again when we know it's those one or two people?
Yeah. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's where leadership needs to kick in. It's no longer a team meeting on training and going over stuff again. It's let's sit down and have a 5-step conversation, or talk to this person about what's really going on. Are you happy? Are you getting what we're doing? Do you want to do this? The 6 reasons that people don't follow systems, which we talked about 3 of them on a video not long ago.
We're going to find like 30 reasons why.
There probably are. I know. So I think it's hard for doctors to change those hats. Like, do I have on my management hat or do I have on my leadership hat right now? Mm-hmm. And which one applies to this situation?
And I think very few practices actually need an office manager. I know that statement is hard to say.
Yeah.
But when you really define and you look at a job description of an office manager, they are hiring and firing and paying the bills and being HR and those sorts of things. Yeah. And so that title, office manager, carries a lot with it. And you need to make sure that if you're going to carry that title, doctor's ready to give that up. And also office manager is ready to take that on. Otherwise, they might be a lead administrator or a practice administrator or something like that. I think sometimes the title gets in the way of really who we are in the job description.
It really does. I'm glad you brought that up, because I get that question a lot, and doctors don't want to handle all this and they just want somebody to take this off their plate. The only thing is that manager, quote unquote, needs to be a leader, meaning the team buys into them. They're not going to buy into your vision until they buy into you. Mm-hmm. And if that manager doesn't have the respect from the team, then they're not going to be a leader, and they can't take over evaluations and hiring and firing when they don't have that leadership quality. So I think just because someone is really good, when I coach sales, I coach an insurance team with a large company that people would probably know who that is. But one thing they would do is promote their best salespeople to a leadership position. Just because they're really good at selling something or doing something doesn't mean they're a good leader.
There's a saying, just because they're a super worker doesn't make them qualified to be a supervisor.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I didn't come up with that. I don't know where that came from. That's not from me.
Different things. Yeah, absolutely 2 different things. So you can have someone, like you said, administrator to help you with accounts payable or things like that. But taking over those evaluations really takes a special person.
Yeah.
That has the respect of the team and leadership.
And the issue is, because in dentistry, the doctor, who is the owner, who has the most risk in this whole situation, is a worker. They are the primary worker. And so when you're, head down doing what you're legally obligated to do as much as possible all day long, you can't be over here running the business. When you're a real estate broker, you can manage your team and direct and see what's going on and know the numbers and go out and do some things here and there. But when you're the dentist, you really can't be the full-time leader, the boss, the owner. And so what we need is we need all individuals to have that ownership mentality that we talked about and know how to lead their department. And so you really need a team of leaders who, could be E-Myth style or however you want to break it down, but you got to have a team of people who know what their checks and balances are, their systems, and that they're held accountable through leadership of each other to those checks and balances, those numbers, to get those results. Not because it's about the money, because it's about being effective in running the business. We all want jobs, so the job's got to be there tomorrow. We don't do our job, the job won't be there tomorrow.
Exactly.
So are they held accountable to a standard that's measurable?
Yes.
And ultimately that's the doctor, but it does break down to everyone being a leader in those realms.
It sure does. In the Seamless Team program, which is about cross-training, which our practice operated that way, I talk about the team leadership style and the single leadership style. So there's a place for both, of where the team is leading self-led, and then there's a time when the doctor has to step in and pull the boss card of single leadership.
Yep. But it's not either or, it's both.
It's both.
And then it's always the team ownership mentality, and then it's the doctor creating that accountability. And they're like, well, when do I do that? Morning huddles when you do that.
Yeah. That's following the SMART principle: specific, measurable, attainable with accountability, reasonable, written down, time frame.
Absolutely.
Yep. Oh, this is great. Great conversation. Thanks for joining me, Eric.
Awesome, Paula.
Bye, guys.